everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We are very excited to partner with Get the Referral for Summer Strategy, Navigating the Home Improvement Industry Slow Season. My name is Morgan Vera. I am the Marketing Event Manager here at Ingage, and I will be your host for today. So before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. If you take your mouse and drag it across your screen, you'll see the chat and the Q&A feature at the bottom. We will be using both of these. If you have any technical issues during the webinar, feel free to use the chat. Myself and then Michaela from GTR will be there to help you answer any questions you may have. And then if you have any questions for the webinar itself today, if you'll put those questions in the Q&A and we'll answer them at the very end. And then as well, we are recording this webinar, so we will send that to you once we're done, as well as post it on our Engage YouTube channel for you to view later and share with anyone else. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Dean, if you will go ahead and move to the agenda page. Thank you. So for today, this is just an agenda of what to expect. We're going to meet our speakers. And then we're going to hear a quick overview of Engage, an overview of Get the Referral, and we'll head into our discussion. And at the end, we'll do any questions as well as provide the best contact information for you guys. Okay, so we are very fortunate today to have not one, but two CEOs. We have Dean Curtis from Engage and Jamie Boomback from Get the Referral. They will both be talking and giving you all the insight. So be sure to stick around to the very end. And yeah, go ahead, Dean, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Morgan. So appreciate everyone's joining us on the webinar today. It's always interesting when you do these. I feel like I'm talking to myself and I'm trying to imagine I'm talking to everyone out there. So Jamie and I'll get into a little bit of a conversation here in a bit, but I wanted to start with a brief overview of Engage for those who aren't familiar. And for those who are, maybe a refresher of what we do. So at Engage, we've helped hundreds of sales teams increase the effectiveness of what they are doing by offering always up-to-date content to the sales teams when they're out there. And really what Engage does is it gives you a platform that you can create immersive, engaging content. You can share it with the people who need it, whether that's your sales team, whether it's your production team, whether it's your partner channel, like all different types of people could use Engage content. And most importantly, the ability to measure how they're actually using it. And more than, what we do, why is that important? Like in today's day and age, when you're selling in the home or when you're selling virtually, what are the things that really matter? Well, what really matters is we have to understand who we're selling to today. And we have to recognize that both our customer and the expectations of our customers have really changed, right? So first little statistic here for you. So millennials are 43% of all home buyers. So these folks grew up alongside the internet. So they grew up with it. Now, what that also tells you is 57% are not millennials, but guess what? They're the same type of people. They're all looking at technology first in terms of how they're doing research, how they're expecting the buyer journey to happen. When you look at it, 57% of customers do their buying process before you even get a chance to meet with them. So they're armed with information. I'm not saying they're armed with the right information. I'm not saying they're actually fully educated, but you have to know that no matter whether they're a millennial, a Gen Z, whether they're a boomer, they have a lot of information when they're coming in. Matter of fact, the majority of their research is done before they even meet with you. And last but not least, talking about those millennials, 84% of them are doing home improvement projects, and 82% they're more likely to buy a fixer-upper. So there's tons of people out there who are screaming to be talked to digitally, who are expecting digital and an immersive experience in the buying process. There's a ton of people out there that are doing that. So really important to understand who your buyers are today. Who are the people that you're going to be selling to? And that's just a snippet. There's a whole lot more. The second thing that we find is really important, especially in the sales process, is that the sales process is an active learning process. I personally just went through a purchase of a solar system, not like, Mars and Venus, but, purchase solar for our home. And Jamie, see, that's the hard part. I saw you smile, so at least I know the joke landed with somebody.
Yeah.
Active, it's really important to understand that you're actively learning. As we were going through that process, there were so many things that I didn't know, even though I'd done a ton of research ahead of time. It was really incumbent on the salesperson through that process to help me understand what I was actually going to buy. And when you look at it, you have to realize that attention spans are pretty much really, really short. The stat we have here, 10 to 20 minutes. Well, I would say it's probably less than 10 minutes. If you look at the people you're selling to and when you're in their home, you really have to make sure you're capturing their attention, keeping it, and understanding you better change the pattern every once in a while so you're not droning on about certain topics. You got to really pause, hit them in different ways so that they can actually follow you in the learning process of what you're teaching them. If you take a look at the next thing here, 8 seconds. It only takes 8 seconds for them to decide if they like the content. So all of you have already decided if you like this content or not. Do you like the moving video content? Does it actually capture your attention? Does it keep your attention? More importantly, it takes less than half of a second for a customer to form an opinion about your brand. Like if you think about it, you've probably all spent considerable amounts of money on the clothes that people wear to someone's home, the wraps on the truck, the branding of your company. I see it all around our town here in Philadelphia. It's amazing. Like I'm truly brought into and will likely call somebody based on the brand on their trucks. We believe that it also part of the active learning process is ensuring that your brand is held true in your sales materials as well. And then last but not least, around the Ingage platform, we really think that it's up to images and videos to tell the better story, right? How many times have you sat through a presentation where it's just walls and walls of text? Most people don't pay attention and are not educated in that way, right? 6 to 7 times more information that is visual is 6 to 7 times more memorable. Right. So when you look at the information and what you're sharing in the sales process, it's really important that it's highly visual, right? 95% of the message from a video is remembered and retained versus 10% from text. If I were to put this slide up here, most people probably even haven't read the words yet, but they've looked at every image that I've clicked into. 74% of customers who watch an explainer video end up buying the product. We see a lot of our customers embedding into their presentations everything from time lapses of how the process is done, whether it's a window or a door or a roof or a bathroom or a kitchen. Like all of those process videos embedded into the presentation are tremendously valuable. And then finally, 90% of the information that is transmitted to the brain is visual, and 40% of people respond better to visual images, visual information rather than text. If I asked you to close your eyes and remember something from today, I would bet that it's something that was visually presented to you, that it wasn't something that you read on a piece of paper or in an email, that it was probably something visual, whether you went to a website, went on the social media channels, whatever your favorite one is. I mean, there's a reason doom scrolling is a thing on an Instagram or a TikTok, right? Because those visual images are extremely memorable. So as we think about presentations, as we think about sales content, it's really important to think, one, how are my customers really expecting to be talked to? Who are they? Number two, what are they expecting when I communicate with them? And then last but not least, it's really, really important that understand that they're actively learning throughout the whole process. So how can we, as professionals, really up our game in terms of that education process? Obviously, we have a lot of information that we think, or we have a platform that we think can help you with that. That's the idea with Ingage. So let me take a break here. I'm going to pass you off to Jamie. He's going to tell you a little bit about Get the Referral. Jamie, I think you're still on mute.
That's a rookie mistake right there, Dean.
All good. Well, I went on mute and then I tried to tell you were on mute and I was on mute. So like we both got caught by it.
Well, thanks, Steve, for having me here today, and welcome everybody that's joined. What I really love about the Engage and Get the Referral relationship is the two together, right? It's all about technology and presenting yourself in a professional manner. And with the Engage platform, you're doing just that. You're presenting your brand in a very professional manner, and being able to connect with that customer is so important. And what you present to them is what they're going to remember, right? And so those millennials and even older folks, they really want to build a relationship with someone that they can trust. So building that through the presentation, interaction with the customer really ties in really closely to what GTR does, what Get the Referral does. And really where we come in is after the presentation is done, we're right at the point of sale, right? That's the best time to introduce Get the Referral. The customer is excited. They love their salesperson. They can't wait for the project to get started. Well, guess what, Mr. Customer? This is how we're going to communicate and engage with you. We're going to offer, go ahead and scan in this QR code. This is our branded application. In this application, you're going to see a lot of different things. Here's your project stages. You're going to be able to see every step of the way. We're going to notify you. We're going to send you photos. You're going to have resources, what to expect. There's just so much packed in here. It really is a great transition from going through the presentation, getting the contract signed to the next step, right? How will you as a contractor communicate, engage with your customers well beyond that first, kind of introduction and a phone call, hey, we're going to be out there tomorrow. So we want to give you tools in your customers' hands that allow you to do that utilizing technology. And that's what we do here. We help you build a great relationship and a great experience. And what we found, we've been doing this now for 9 years. I was a contractor myself, and I understand all of the different things that are happening all at once. So what we want to do is make it super easy, integrate with your CRM, integrate with your project management tools, allow your customers to see what's happening in real time. And what that does is creates a great experience, right? And a great experience turns into more referrals. And that's what we're trying to do here. We also have a review portal. So we're like the whole kit and caboodle here. We allow you to get every piece of the component of that customer engagement past the actual signing of the contract. So I don't think I can click here. So do you want to go on to the next screen? And I said more referrals. What does that mean, right? Well, with referrals, as you know, they are much more likely to close at a much higher rate. Go ahead and click that one, please. So traditional marketing comes in at the top of the funnel, as I'm sure you're aware. It costs a lot of money. You get a new lead, and then you got to start nurturing that lead. You have to start taking them down that road. And for them to really, finally pull the trigger, set a demo, set an appointment with you. So it's really important that you give them, a lot of attention. And now if we go to the next slide, here, you're going to see referrals. They're coming in at the bottom of the funnel, right? So better experience for the customer post-sale, more referrals, higher close rate, higher return on your investment. That's what we really help you do. We mechanize the whole process for you. Almost everybody out there already has some type of word of mouth or referral program. We softwareize it. We're kind of, using that word here, software. We're using software to provide you and your customers a great way to communicate and engage. So it's so important that you take a look at technology when it comes to the complete sales process. You have your leads coming in, you have your sales presentation, your sales enablement, and then what's next, right? Don't just leave them there waiting for a phone call. Utilize technology in a way that allows you to stay top of mind with them throughout the installation process and beyond. And that's going to mean for you is more referrals that close higher, and you're going to get a better return on your investment. So we kind of do that all through utilizing technology. So one last slide here, I believe. And, this is what we see on average. As I mentioned, we've been doing this for 9 years. We have over 600 contractors using our platform. But on average, we're seeing our customers up to 28 referrals per month with a 24x return on investment. So utilizing technology sometimes gets overwhelming. But believe me, when you start seeing these kinds of returns on your investment with GTR, it makes it real easy to continue on with the product and get more raving fans out there, sending you leads that are going to close at a much higher rate. So that's kind of what we do. Just appreciate the time, Dean, to be here and to partner with Ingage. So
awesome. I think what I want to do here is I'm going to launch the poll. So I think we have a bunch of people who have already responded. So if you haven't responded yet, check out the poll. It should be at the bottom of your screen. You can tap on polls there. It says, how much of your business comes from referrals? And Jamie, I don't know if you can see it on your side, but I can take a look at the results here.
Yeah, I don't have the results. So
yeah, pretty incredible. So I'm shocked by some of these numbers. So the number one is around 25%, which is incredible, right? I would love to have 25% of our business coming from referrals. And then 14% of the folks say it's about 50%. 21% of the folks say that it's over 50% of their business. That's pretty incredible. And then less than 15 is 21%. So in order, around 25% is the number one. And then less than 15 and over 50 are tied for second.
That is incredible. And it's the sign of the times, right? Things are changing. And I think, what we're seeing out in the marketplace right now is, folks looking for different ways to be creative and to get more leads, right? So it takes a lot of effort. And it's funny you said that the number one is 25%. And going back to my story, when I had a solar company, years ago, 25% of our business was coming from referrals. I put together this product for my own business back in 2013. And what we found was we increased the number of referrals from our existing customers and other business associates and real estate agents to 75% of our business was coming from referrals. So we did end up in that higher, greater than 50%. And we did it all through that communication engagement with our customers. So it was exciting to know that 25% of them are coming from referrals. But when you start getting up to 75% of your new business is coming from referrals, that money goes to your bottom line, right? That money goes back in your pocket. And that's what you really want to do. And, there's a lot of lead gen services out there. And you know what? The percentage of, closes there is much lower than referrals, of course, right? But you have to think it's a combination of a lot of things that you're doing. So if you buy a lead from a lead service and you close that deal, make that turn into 2 or 3 deals down the road. Take that time to communicate and engage with the customer, make them a raving fan. They have a great experience. Make it easy for them to send you referrals, make it easy for them to be able to track where those referrals are, and put together a incentive plan around that. A lot of companies now maybe do a gift card or maybe send a check out, and what people want is immediacy. They want to see it right away. And, being in the business, we get all sorts of phone calls. Oh, the dog ate the check. I never got it. So find a way to do it so that that your customers are getting the incentives right away. Because what happens when somebody gets an incentive? They're ready to give you another referral. Like, wow, this is awesome. And one thing we really encourage is everyone that's out there right now understands how much a new lead costs, right? You go out there and whether it's $50 to $250, whatever that lead costs, there's a cost to that lead. And so what you want to do is incentivize not only when a deal is sold, but when someone sends you a referral, you go meet with that customer and it's a qualified, verified referral. Then send that customer something. Say, hey, thank you. This was a great referral. We haven't sold them yet, but here's $50, right? Because you know what your lead cost is. So find a way to incent early and often. And then once the deal sells, I always tell all of our customers, don't wait until the job is installed, which could be a month, 2 months, or 3 months down the road. Incent them as soon as you know that job is not going to go south. Whether the financing got approved or, you got the 60% deposit, when you know that job's not going, send that person who sent you referral money right away. And, do it in a way that they know that they're getting it, right? A gift card in the mail or somebody dropping off a check, that kind of goes away. But with our technology and our app and the branded application, you stay top of mind. They see how much they've earned, how much they've been paid. We provide them with a wallet within the application where they can actually download the money to their bank. They can send it to somebody else. We have over 200 gift cards. So putting the power of how to use that money in the hands of your customers makes it easier for them to redeem that. And they like that. They really like being able to have control over how they're going to use that money instead of cashing a check and, going away and, forgetting about it. Right. But
Yeah, totally.
with communication, push notifications, you send them, maybe a little monthly reminder, a little nudge around a holiday time. There's a storm coming. So utilize technology. Once again, I think is so important.
Yeah. So the focus of our webinar today, summer strategy, navigating the slow season, right? I think, and it's interesting, we could time these in a couple of different times of the year, right? Slow season for one part of the market may be a little bit different. So maybe someone's going to watch this in the winter. They're like, hey, summer wasn't my slow time. I'm rocking and rolling. But what we've heard from a lot of our customers, it's not slow in terms of installation, right? Everybody is doing a ton of installs right now, but it may be slow in terms of lead generation only because they're so busy doing the actual work and executing on the contracts that they've already signed, right? So we've talked a couple, about two pieces of technology. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of technology that people are putting into play in their business or evaluating. Is it, am I getting the ROI from that technology? Jamie, what are you hearing from customers who come to you for a demo of Get the Referral? Like, what is it about? Like, we get, demo requests all the time for Ingage. And typically people are coming to us because they realize that they need to really up-level the sales presentation that they're giving in the home. That maybe it's a little stale, maybe it's a little boring, maybe it's a little outdated. They're not closing it as high of a rate as they like. What are you hearing from your customers who come to GTR for a demo to see, what you might help them in their business?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, what we find is the majority of our customers already have some kind of program in place, right? They're like, yeah, I get referrals, but you know what? I heard about this and I want to get more. How do I get more? And so that's really what we come down to is, the biggest, issue out there is getting your sales reps engaged, right? Pardon the pun there, but engage with an E, right? Let's get your sales reps engaged. Only 11% of salespeople ever even ask for a referral. Right. So if you're sending in these leads and they're running around town, they figure they got a full pipeline and they're not even asking their existing customers for a referral. They're not building a network of business partners like real estate agents. Say, hey, if you know anybody out there that needs our service, please have them call me, or here's my cards, or, become an advocate of ours. So be able to really give them the tools to allow them to engage and communicate. And that's the key here is customers are hungry for technology because they're hearing about all these different things out there. Well, I use this over here, kind of, sort of. I use this over here. How do we tie it all in together? And so one of the biggest things that we hear is, we don't want another system we have to, log into. And so being able to integrate, that's another big thing that comes up with our customers is, can this integrate with my CRM? Could this integrate with this, right? And so being able to have, a really good integration platform, which we do, and we integrate with over 100 different CRMs out there, that makes it easier for our customers, right? We want to save them time and make them more money, right? How do we save them time? We utilize technology. And now we also give, going back to my first point about sales reps, is visibility into how your existing sales team is interacting with their customers, because you can track all of your sales reps. They all have their own login. There's a dashboard that shows all their, how many advocates they have, how many referrals they have, and really being able to build that into the sales process. You talked about that earlier. What is that sales process? So part of the Engage presentation, after the sale is completed is, okay, let's go ahead and let me tell you a little bit about our referral program, right? Making that part of the process and getting these customers, engaged at that point of sale and then staying engaged. So providing that type of technology to allow them to be able to do that seamlessly. And that's where, most of our customers are coming from. I already get referrals, but I want more. And that's really the end of it. And how can I use technology to make that happen?
Yeah. When we work with customers, a lot of the getting started is, hey, we need to build out our presentation. And there's some sections of that presentation that are pretty standard, right? There's the company story, typically, right? We need to tell the story of our company. It's very common. There's product stuff, right? So they're going to go through and whatever products they have, whether they're integrating content from a manufacturer or whether they're going through some things that they do. There's usually something about their process. So whether it's, this is how we do it and how we differentiate, here's our production schedule, here's the team of people, like there's very standard things in a presentation. Financing is typically there. Like, how do I present financing in the home? We haven't seen a ton of people saying, and now let's end the presentation with a referral, right? So it's a great idea is to include this in your sales process somewhere, right? What we've learned about referrals, one, they're way less expensive, right? You mentioned this, right? It's the cost of customer acquisition. In the SaaS software world, we have a measurement of CAC, customer acquisition cost. Everyone has a similar metric, right? Whether it's cost of lead or whatever. Also, for a lot of people, it's a new lead funnel or an expansion of a lead funnel, right? You don't want to be accidental with referrals. You want to be intentional with referrals. Right. And then third, we want them because they close more, right? We're business people. We want to close more business and make more money, right? And have a healthier business. Well, if we can increase our close rate by having more referral business, it's huge. The other thing that I find is referrals bring a level of trust that automatically exists during the sales process where, cold outreach may bring a little bit of skepticism, right? So the person who maybe got your flyer in the mail is different than the person who came because Uncle Bob just had a roof put on and said, you should use Jamie's roofing company, right? Do you find that's true as well?
Yeah, I mean, to that point is, with utilizing a technology platform like Ingage, you're building a very professional kind of relationship, and that trust starts right then and there. Customers buy for a couple of reasons. One, they need a product, right? Two is they trust that salesperson, they trust them and they like them, right? And that's the driver in a lot of these sales situations where if you can build that trust and extend it well beyond, that becomes such an important piece of the overall sales process. And so it's so important to build that trust. And that's what referrals do, right? They're a trusted source. They've already seen the product in most cases, and they're excited to get things going. And it's really important to understand too, is that at the kitchen table, guess what? There's not going to be 4 other proposals sitting there. The customer feels better because they don't have to make 5 calls and meet different people at the door that they never, met before and start going through the whole process again. They asked their friend, they had a great experience. That referral comes. Less competition at the kitchen table. And guess what? The other big piece is here is that you're going to see your average sale be higher, and price is not as sensitive with a referral. And so it's so important to build your business around referral. You guys work so hard to get customers happy. We know that, right? We want those reviews, right? But once you get a review, how are you staying in touch with them? Are you doing anything after that? Are you reaching out and giving them some kind of, accolades for giving you a review, and then telling them how your referral program works? There's so many different touch points that you can bring this into play. So if you have a sales rep that isn't doing it, when the final inspection is done, have your inspector, whoever's doing the final inspection, have them, tell them about the referral program. So there's multiple touch points to get that customer. Then once they send you a referral, make sure you pay quickly and often, and all those things I mentioned earlier, because that's going to drive the incentive for the customer to want to do it more. And they're building that trust. So the more that you can do that, the better off you're going to be from a business perspective. Once again, money's going to go to the bottom line because you're going to save money and save time if you have a program that is constructed around utilizing technology. So my number one, recommendation is find some type of technology out there to help you do this, because it makes a big difference.
I've often heard it said, I wish I could remember where I heard it first, because I'd love to attribute the quote, but people buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? And the referral just, it kind of puts you on a different level, a different starting step in that process, right? So that if you're starting from zero, well, you're at the bottom of the ladder, you got to start to climb up. But if you start halfway up the ladder, because that trust is already inherently built, because it's a referral from someone you already know, it's really important. So you mentioned about structuring the referral program. We just did a big overhaul of ours internally, which has been fantastic. Give us some ideas or some tips on, as you're looking at the slow season and we're coming out of summer, going into fall and ramping up lead generation, what is the best way to structure a referral program?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Dean, what you want to make sure is part of the process, right? So it starts at the top. So you have a program that is in place, it's publicized to everybody, and then the sales manager is involved, right? They have a quota, or they have some sort of expectation that they need to get X amount of referrals. And that's driven down to your sales team. So it's structuring it from the top down and really building a way to set expectations. And then I always use this term is inspect what you expect, right? Making sure that there's, checkpoints in there for whether it's the general manager, the CEO, the owner, the sales manager. They have ways to make sure that it is getting presented on every single call. Incent your sales reps to do so. It's so important to be able to get them engaged, because they are the front line for you, as you all know. Make sure that they feel comfortable on referrals. We actually had a Sandler training do a webinar a little bit ago. It's on our website. You can check it out. But they talked about the mindset behind referrals, not about technology, but how do you ask for a referral? Train your sales team up. We have a partnership with Sandler where we can actually, get you some additional training around that, and being able to understand the how do you do it, right? Make sure they understand, right? Role play with them.
We found the same thing, like with our team. It really took, for some, it's uncomfortable because maybe you haven't, maybe in your case, you haven't even installed the project yet. You're not sure if they're 100% done, but there's still a good time, right? If they're happy with the sales process, to ask for the referral, even though they haven't seen the benefit of the value of the purchase yet, right? So that training we found is so important to, because it's another skill that a salesperson or someone in production needs to have in order to ask for that. And we're doing training throughout our entire company.
Yeah.
Right. Because even if you're a software engineer, you should be able to ask for referrals from people in your network, right? Even if you're not one of our sales team or customer success, we're doing training across the board in order to make sure they know how to ask and how to stay top of mind when they're having conversations with people that maybe there's some great need that they have, or a minor need that we can turn into a great need for what we do, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. SaaS is a little bit different, and referrals, we have a GTR Enterprise referral program, and we pay $50 if we do a demo and $500 if we sell a deal, right? So we have our own internal program here, and it's our number 3 lead generating tool that we have right now, and it's the least expensive. So if you want to look at how many X over my investment in referrals, it's 10X, where PPC is great and more volume, but it's 3X, right? So it's all about your return on investment. So making sure that that structure is in place, the training is there, and that psychology behind how to ask for a referral. I beg to differ when anybody says that they don't want to ask for a referral right at the point of sale, right? It's to me, it's a lack of confidence in yourself as a salesperson, as well as lack of confidence in, we're going to do a great job installing your windows or whatever that may be. So build that confidence and say, hey, I know you really loved our product. Hopefully you love me. I want to be able to treat your friends and family the same way and offer them this opportunity. Do you have anybody else out there that might, be considered a good candidate for our product, right? It's okay to do that.
That may be the most excited they ever are.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. Things can go south later. No fault of their own,
No, but like when you're signing on the contract, right? That is an exciting moment for a lot of people, because they're at the peak of the value chain right there, right? They understand it, right? So you mentioned incentives. I think you mentioned it in two different ways. One is this incentive for the customer, right? But also the incentive for the salesperson, right? How do you see both of those playing out in reality?
So where I think some companies, don't perform as well is when they don't want to pay the sales rep a little extra for a referral, right? Well, I'm already paying the customer. Figure out what your cost per acquisition is, your CAC and, CPA, however you want to position, whatever that job costs you, figure out what that is and come up with a figure that you're comfortable with and give some to the customer and give some to the sales rep. Where I see it work really well is where we have, self-gens. They'll consider a referral a self-gen. And they're going to pay that salesperson an additional percentage based on it being a self-gen. So making sure you have those in place is so important. And I see companies that, think they pay their reps up enough already, and they don't want to do that. And it just doesn't make sense, right? They're salespeople. They're going to be incented by having additional incentives. And so figure that piece out and find a way to be able to track their effectiveness in it. Right. So if you're just paying it randomly, how do you verify it? Did they play games with it? Where did the referral really come? Where did the lead really come from? So have a process in place that you can track it. And, once again, you can use technology to do that with a platform like ours. So,
yeah. I mean, selfish plug, if you have a section of your presentation that is talking about referrals, we can tell you whether they ever present it in the home, right? Yeah. Pretty
That's
simple,
awesome. Yeah.
Right? Did you ever get to the referral section at the end of the presentation, or maybe it's a separate presentation, whatever it happens to be, right? Yeah. So excellent. Jamie, thanks so much. I'm going to ask Morgan if we have any questions that have come in during the webinar so far.
So we did have one question, which Michaela answered. And the question was, do you have the gift card set up for Canada? And she answered, yes, our reward options offer Canadian gift cards too. So just wanted to make sure everyone saw that. But if you do have any additional questions, feel free to put them either in the Q&A or the chat. We will look over there. Michaela, I wanted to check with you and make sure that you didn't have any questions come in on your end either.
No, I didn't. I think we're good.
All right.
Give
it
the old Ferris Bueller 3-second pause.
And then Dean, if you want to share the contact page as well. Yep,
I will do. So one just came into the cost of GTR. Jamie, if you want to go through that.
Yeah, great. So our program is all based upon how many sales reps you have, right? And so our platform fees start at $400 a month. And it goes up from there based upon how many sales reps you have, but we'll customize a program for you. I love showing a return on investment calculator. Like I kind of showed you a little bit earlier about, what the ROI return on investment is. We'd love to share that with you. And when you start seeing your payback in 2 months of an entire year's worth of software, it gets pretty exciting. So love to be able to share that with you, go through all the details and all the different things that we do. You can reach out to us at the getthereferral.com/engage landing page. You can call us, you can email us. We're real excited to share this with anybody and work with you with your Engage platform if you're currently using Engage, so that we can then, actually we have QR codes that we can plug into the sales presentation that the customer can just scan in, download the app, and they're ready to go. They've got all that information at their fingertips. So excited to share that with all of you.
And then Michaela just dropped the URL in the chat as well for everyone. And just a reminder, this webinar has been recorded and we will post it on our Engage YouTube channel, as well as send it out in an email if you would like to share it with anyone. But I don't see any more questions coming in. Are we good?
We had one more pop in last second.
Yeah. What's the largest contractor using GTR? We have several, and when I say several, I would say, on two hands that are greater than $150 million in revenue. So we have some really big enterprise customers. We have big corporations using our platform, such as Jacuzzi at a corporate level, and Panasonic and some others, SunPower, all use our platform. And obviously, the size of those contractors. We have PosiGen. We just, Michaela just posted in there. PosiGen is a really big East Coast solar company. We have a case study actually on our website that you can check out from them. Big company. So with hundreds of sales reps, I did a sales training about a year ago. We were in front of 500 sales reps doing a presentation. So there's no limitations to what we can do for you.
All right, this is the last final questions. Anyone left?
Thank you, Dave. Excellent. Thanks everybody for coming. It's been great to chat with you, Jamie, again. And if anybody wants to follow up, our information is here on the screen. Morgan, any last final thoughts?
No, I think we're good. Be sure to look out for the recording and share it with everyone you know.
Thank you, Dean and Morgan. It's been great. Appreciate all that you guys do. And thanks everyone for attending.
Right.